Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the about to be rainy Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be through the storm you reach the shore. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. And yes, another day of a thunderstorm here in the beautiful Carolinas, and I am having so much fun enjoying these. I hope you are too. So just like that thunder went off a moment ago, and believe me, there'll be much more thunder throughout this video, maybe even a little bit of lightning. That was where you were. You were in the narcissistic relationship. You were in a storm. You did not know how you got there, but you found yourself in a turbulent ocean. And eventually you had to find yourself back to the shore. Now, going back in time when you first met the narcissist, or perhaps you were born into a narcissistic family, you did not know what narcissism was. You weren't taught this in school, so you couldn't identify what the signs were. You knew that there was poor behavior being displayed on a daily basis by these people or this person, but you couldn't wrap your head around, A, the fact that the person who told you that they loved you, maybe it was your mom or dad, perhaps a romantic interest or sibling, that they could be the one that's inflicting this damage upon you. So frequently, during one-on-one sessions, I will be working with people and they will mention pivotal moments in their life. Example, they had a passing in their family, or they came down with an illness, or they just lost their job, etc., or they gave birth to their first child or a child. And where was the narcissist? I will tell you right now, they were nowhere to be found, because the narcissist is a self-serving person. They care about only one person, and that is themselves. They look at people as opportunities. They look at people as weak. They look at people and weaponize the love and the empathy that they have within themselves against themselves. The narcissist is a master manipulator, and they kept you in those turbulent waters in the middle of that ocean of abuse. And you were in the life raft, and the narcissist was in that raft with you for a period of time, but what they were doing is they were puncturing holes in the raft, and you kept on trying to plug up the holes. You kept on trying to float in that relationship with the narcissist, despite the fact they were creating issues and drama and confusion and chaos throughout the whole relationship. But this is what the narcissist does. And eventually what happened, and I'm kind of fast forwarding here, is that life raft that you were in, you turned and you looked around and the narcissist was nowhere to be found. Where were they? They were on a boat with the new supply, driving away or speeding away from you. And your boat that kept on having the holes punctured in them, it was going down more and more and more, and you could not wrap your head around how the person who claimed that they loved you, claimed that they cared about you, maybe even married you, or maybe even had children with them, or gave birth to you, maybe it was one of your parents, they wanted to watch your demise, and they were inflicting and twisting the knife of manipulation and destruction into you more and more. What the narcissist was doing was, when they were drifting away or speeding off with the new supply, they were watching your life implode, and they had a first-hand job in doing so. And they were thinking and believing that the new supply would be the next new shiny object. Well, I'm beginning to believe that not only does the narcissist believe that the new supply is the next new shiny object, but in the back of their tiny little pea brain, they cannot wait to destroy that person also. And I'll jump into that in future videos. But the love bomb / euphoric stage, that's meant to draw you in. It's meant to hook you. It's meant to keep you trapped in the narcissistic fog. And then the devaluation stage is the second stage. And of course, the ending of the relationship is the third. And perhaps at times a Hoover will be the fourth part. Don't accept a Hoover. Don't ever accept a Hoover. But when through the storm you reach the shore, each and every day post narcissistic relationship, you were putting yourself back together. You had sleepless nights. You lost weight. You gained weight. You had sleepless periods that you couldn't wrap your head around why, even though you were so tired, you could not fall asleep. Then again, sometimes you would catch a couple of hours of sleep and you would wake up and you would just think that everything was the way it was in the past. Then you'd look over and you'd be like, oh no, this is real. It's like Groundhog Day over and over and over again. It doesn't stop until you heal, until you practice radical acceptance, and until you get that life raft to the shore. But there will be a very turbulent ocean full of very high waves, maybe even some rogue waves that you'll have to get through to get to the shore. Now again, the healing path, as we know, it's not linear. It takes time. It takes a lot of time, but in your time, my hope is you will heal. If you take the tools that are provided for you on the channel and in the community, you read the comments, and you pay it forward when your cup is full, and if your cup is full, if you so choose to do so, then you will understand that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. And there's no room in your life for the narcissist. But to get to the shore, you have to figure out, first of all, which direction you're going in. And this I will equate now with post-narcissistic relationship. When the relationship ends, any way it ends, if you were discarded or if you ended it, either way my heart goes out to you. But what happens is you have to slow your life down. You have to go into a place that I call the cocoon of boundaries. You have to heal. You have to meditate, journal, see a therapist. You have to watch videos. You have to read. You have to heal childhood wounds, etc. You really have to understand what that relationship was and compared to what you thought it was. And that's why you have to practice radical acceptance, because you have to face the reality that the narcissistic relationship almost took you down for the count, and it was what it was. It wasn't what you thought it was. It was a toxic, draining relationship. And that's why so frequently when you're in the relationship with these people, you make excuses for them. You tolerate their poor behavior. You ignore your instincts and intuition. You ignore red flags. You are working for the narcissist to do whatever they want you to do because you're caught up in the fog. You're in the zombie-like, trance-like state, and you don't know how to get out of it. What you keep on doing is believing in the mask, believing in the narcissist, believing in the false narrative, giving them more and more chances to the detriment of yourself, putting them higher up on a pedestal to the detriment of you. And when you're doing all these things, you're lost in the ocean. You're lost in that deep, deep, deep end of the ocean of manipulation. You're confused, you're in the fog, you can't see anything in front of you. And that lifeboat, without the narcissist, because remember, they've now slithered away onto the new supply or whatever, they're not in the picture any longer because this is post-relationship. This is when you find yourself in very turbulent waters. This is when you're reaching out and trying to communicate with your own family members or friends, and you're trying to explain to them what you went through or what you are experiencing, and these people are getting burnt out left, right, and center. They can't wrap their head around what's going on. They can't be there for you for much of a period of time because they get burnt out. And some of those people, you may not even know this, and I've never mentioned this in videos, but some of those people themselves may be the narcissist, and they're actually acting like they care, but they're closing their eyes and they shut the doors on you to twist the knife in you, even though they weren't the narcissist that broke your heart or you were in the relationship with. See, many times on the planet, people are not who they appear to be, and the narcissist is at the top of that list. So when you are healing post-narcissistic relationship, you need a safe, sound support system that has your best interest at heart. Proven people that are there for you. And again, this will be a very short list of people, I can assure you. Many of us, or some of us, didn't have any people at all. We had a couple people we could lean on, maybe once or twice, but we had to go through the storm by ourselves, and I was no different. Having said all those things, the choppy waters, you will be taken super high and you will be dropped super low. You will be ruminating, you will be thinking about the narcissist, you will be wondering what happened. Did you do enough? Should you have done more? What happens if you didn't say this? Did the narcissist love you? Did they care about you? Are they gonna return? All of these things you will be going through, and your emotions will be scattered. One minute you may be feeling okay, the next minute you may be on the ground in the fetal position crying. The next day you may be okay, but then the next 3 days after that, maybe you can't go to work, you can't even get out of bed. All these things I'm sharing with you are the healing path. I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. I'm letting you know that this is real life. This is not a movie. This is a actual ending to a narcissistic relationship, and you know what I'm talking about because you're in the community. But when you're in that life raft and you've now begun to plug up the holes, the narcissist is long gone, and you're still in the fog and you don't know where you're going, the next really important part of this journey is you're gonna have to get that needle in a haystack. You're gonna have to be committed and resilient and focused and figure out what kind of relationship you just exited. And guess what? You did, because you're here on my channel. You now know that you are in a toxic relationship, a narcissistic relationship, if you will. And the narcissist, you're now realizing that they never had your best interest at heart in the past. They certainly don't now, and they won't in the future. And you need to heal from this relationship because it is the relationship you need to heal from. But now, the more and more holes in the boat, in the life raft, are being plugged up, and the fog is beginning to lift after a period of time. And remember, it's different for each and every one of us. We all heal in different times, and nobody, and I mean nobody, can tell you when you will heal. There's not one person on the planet that actually knows when you will heal. You don't even know. I didn't know. So if anyone ever tells you, do A, B, and C, and you'll heal in this period of time, that's not correct. There's no way anybody can tell you to heal, because this is the work that you are going to have to do, not somebody else. You're going to have to really dig in deep within yourself, plug up those holes, leave the narcissist in the past, go no contact, block them, delete them, and remove all flying monkeys and people associated with them. But that will take time. That will be another step on the journey to healing. So now you're in the boat and the fog is beginning to lift a little bit. You're still plugging up the holes. You're processing what that relationship was. You now realize that the smear campaign is well underway, and that there are so many people who claim that they had your best interest at heart or they had your back, and these people are few and far between, maybe even nowhere to be found. Doors are being closed on you. People communicating with you are getting burnt out. You're understanding that no one's going to knock on the door to rescue you or save you. This is a very challenging part. That's when a huge rogue wave hits you. It almost capsizes the boat, but it doesn't. You manage to get your bearings. You straighten out the boat. There are fewer holes need to be plugged up. The fog is still beginning to lift. And then what happens? Now you lose your sense of direction. You were beginning to feel confident. You were beginning to feel good, but that rogue wave almost took you down. It didn't. And now you have to recalibrate. You have to reset. You see, you just had a big setback. You just understood that this is not going to be an easy path. This is not going to be an easy journey. This is a journey meant for one, by one, for one, and it will heal you when you do the deep dive on the narcissistic abusive cycle and how it affected you for a period of time. Now you're moving along. The holes again are beginning to be fewer and fewer and further between. You're now processing the relationship, and you now understand what the definitions, the terms on the narcissistic abusive cycle are. You're learning what gaslighting is. You now know what the smear campaign was. You now know what triangulation was, my least favorite thing these people do. You now know what projection is, what object constancy is, what mirroring is, what rage fits are, what financial abuse is. You now know what the what the silent treatment is, and blame shifting, etc. You see, you're becoming really educated now, and you are watching more and more and more videos, and you're reading, you're journaling, you're buying books. You're doing everything you possibly can because you know that you need to get out of this mindset where you were placed. You did not go there on purpose. The narcissist had you fall in love with them, or they placed you in that zombie-like, trance-like state, the narcissistic fog. They drew you into the relationship or lured you into believing that they had your best interest at heart, or they groomed you from when you were a kid. Maybe it was your parents and they didn't give you the TLC or the proper upbringing that you should have had. But again, that boat, the holes are almost all plugged up now. The fog is really lifting, and you can see way up in the distance, you can see a shore, but you know it's going to take a lot of work to get there. You begin paddling more and more. As the rain falls down all over you, as it is falling down around me, you're beginning to get a little energized. You're beginning to realize that you can see that shore and that you will reach there, but it's going to take more processing. It's going to take going through more sleepless nights. It's going to take fighting to get out of bed each and every day. It's going to take reclaiming certain mindsets and reframing things that happened in the past. And as you continue to paddle forward and go through this journey, these rogue waves, these huge waves in that ocean of manipulation, you can look behind you and you can see that storm is way in the past. Although you're still going through it, it's not nearly as choppy waters as it was. You see, most of the heavy lifting has been done, although not all of it. And that shoreline is getting closer and closer and closer. And what you're doing now is you're understanding that not everybody, and I mean not everyone at all, is who they appear to be. Many people will show you who they are post-narcissistic relationship. And again, the narcissist is at the top of that list. They were wearing a mask. They were manipulating you. They tricked you and trapped you. They sold you a bill of goods. They never cared about you. They didn't love you. They wanted to only look at you as an opportunity and take whatever they could from you. Now you're still in that boat and you're paddling closer and closer. This is the period of time when you realize that you're going to have to either divorce the narcissist, or you're going to have to get custody of the kids, or you're going to have to split the assets or sell the house or relocate. You see, you're still in the cocoon of boundaries, but that cocoon of boundaries is a very, very challenging place to be, but it's a good place to be. It's where the growth happens. It's where the abundance begins to show within you, because now you're becoming re-energized. You're now getting recharged. You're now not thinking about the narcissist as much as you used to, and you know that there's still some heavy lifting in front of you. You know there's still more paddling you have to do to get to the shore. And this is where you take stock and you realize, okay, I need to get out of this. The narcissist is long gone. Maybe they've relocated Maybe they're with the new supply, but you're still perhaps married to them, or you have financial ties, or the children, etc., or you own a business with them. This is where you need to begin to cut, and sever the ties with the narcissist. And these 4 ties that must be cut are the emotional ties, the financial ties, the physical ties, and the spiritual ties. Slowly but surely, you begin to cut these ties, and you realize that yes, getting the divorce will take place. Yes, it will get drawn out. Yes, there will be delays. Yes, it won't be a pleasant experience. And yes, you did perhaps marry a narcissist. Other things you'll have to go through. Perhaps the narcissist was your brother or sister, and let's say one of your parents passed. Well, the narcissist probably swooped in when one of your parents' health was ailing, and they acted like they were the white knight in shining armor, but what did? They stole the inheritance that you were supposed to get. Another example could be the narcissist was your parent, and they told you, come back, move in with me, help take care of me. I'm gonna leave everything to you. And you do it, you took the bait, you moved in with them, you nursed them back as much as you possibly could, and when they passed, and heaven forbid they had to pass, because we all do, they left you out of the will. You see, the narcissist was always manipulating. They were always saying, look over here, and I'm gonna distract you and do this. This is why you need to break free from these people. This is why they don't deserve to see you, to hear about you, to know anything about you. That's why you must block them. But as you were beginning to realize that these were bigger steps that you would have to take, example, divorce, assets, custody, then you realize, wait a minute, when I do sell the house, what am I going to do? I'm gonna have to relocate because I need to get out of the proximity or the vicinity where the narcissist is, because they just moved a couple blocks away from me, or they just moved a half a mile away from me, or right down the road, and they're now living with the new supply, or whatever they're doing. You realize that that environment wasn't good for you. It wasn't safe, it wasn't stable, it wasn't healthy. It was keeping you trapped, and that's what the narcissist wanted to do. Side note, pro tip, many times when the narcissist goes to the new supply, they do want to reclaim, they want to take over your city, town, or area, or environment, or neighborhood, or condominium. And they know exactly what they're doing. But now the boat, the life raft, you're now really seeing the shore. The fog is lifted. It's almost all dissipated. You look in the back in that ocean of manipulation, those waves and those, the rogue waves and the choppy seas, it's just as bad as it ever was, but it's way in the past now. It's not anywhere near you, but you can still see where you were. And now you're looking at the shore and it's right up ahead, and you keep on paddling. And then eventually, what do? After you get divorced and break the 4 ties that I talked about, or most of those ties, which is for a whole different video, you finally understood that you are the priority, and that your energy is beginning to return, your health is beginning to return, your clarity has returned, your resources are returning, you're building your network of friends back up, you have relocated perhaps, and you have now reclaimed your hobbies, and perhaps you can function at your job in a higher capacity, etc. You see, now you've reached the shore. You pulled the life raft onto the beach, onto the shore, and you got down on your hands and knees. You rolled over in the sand. You looked up at the sky. The sky broke. There was the sun, and it was looking right at you, down, glowing on you. You see, that is you. You're the beautiful, bright, shining light that I speak about on the channel, and you've now made it. You've gone through the cycle. You went through the storm, and you reached the shore. You are now getting closer to reaching that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference where you no longer care about the narcissist or anybody from that period of time. You roll around in the sand. You can't believe that you're out of the water. Your fingers are all pruned. Your feet are all pruned. Your hair is a mess. Everything is just not what it was, but now you've made it. You're through it. You've conquered the narcissistic abusive cycle. You've beaten the relationship. The narcissist now means less than a drop of sand below your shoe or below your feet. You now realize that that was the most challenging relationship you had ever been a part of. It's changed you forever. It's improved your life. Although when you were in it, you never thought of it that way, because perhaps you fell in love with the narcissist, or you did love the narcissist. But when you get out of it, you enter a place that I call the third version of yourself. It's the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. And that's when you reach the pinnacle. So I just said something a moment ago when I said improved your life. When you're in it or you're healing, that's the last thing you're thinking. That's the last thing I was thinking. But when you reach the mountaintop, the pinnacle, then you look back and you say, I did not want to go through that. I would not go through that again in 1,000 years if given the opportunity. But I'll tell you right now, I'm out. I made it. I now see the world through a brand new, different set of eyes. I now live in the present moment. I don't think about the past. I don't stay stuck in the past. I don't think about the future or predict it. I have now conquered something. I am in rarefied air. I've done something that most people on the planet don't get the opportunity to do, and most people don't do it. But I did it. If I did it, you can do it. And that's why I said, being in that relationship, if the narcissist gave you the 2-page report and told you, this is me, this is what I'm gonna do to you, would you have entered that relationship? Of course you wouldn't have. I wouldn't have either. I would have run for the hills. But the point is, that's not what they did, so you had to go through it. There was no other way. So many times during one-on-one sessions, people ask me that question. Well, if I did A, B, and C, would I have still met the narcissist? Or could I have avoided this? No, you couldn't have, because you were exactly where you were supposed to be at that period of time. And if you didn't meet that narcissist, another narcissist would have found you. The reason why that is what I'm suggesting, and I know it to be true, is because the narcissist usually looks for kind, loving, stable, healthy, empathetic people. People who were people pleasers or giving to a fault. And they were targeting people. And that narcissist targeted you. Again, maybe it was your mom or dad. Maybe you were the white sheep or the black sheep of the family, meaning the glue that kept the family together. The person always did the right thing. Or maybe you fell in love with the narcissist, but they knew who they were and they knew what they were gonna do to you. And they strung you along as long as they possibly could. So before I close the video, you now look over, your body's covered in sand. You see the storms in the ocean getting further and further away. They're moving further away from you. That's the narcissist becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. You look over at that life raft. It's no longer inflated, it's deflated, because all the wear and tear in the ocean, the life raft, that was it, a collapse, it's done. And you just made it to the shore. And now you stand up, you dust yourself off, you pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and you begin to move towards that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, which is not in the direction of the ocean. It's on the land, and that's where you are headed, or that's where you have arrived. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it. From the rainy Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. And this weather is absolutely amazing. Do I want to live in an environment where it rains every day? No. But do I enjoy all 4 seasons? I love them. And as I mentioned in the video not too long ago and back years ago, I loved the rain my whole life. I love it even more now. For a period of time, I lost my love for the rain for reasons that are pretty obvious. But now I absolutely relish it and I enjoy it. And I'm beautiful and blessed to be able to be here. And that is my hope, that you reclaim some of the things that you have lost along the healing path, or along the relationship is what I meant. The healing path, remember, it is not linear. It will take time. It will take a mountain of time, but in your time you will heal. And we are all on the healing path, headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. So be patient with yourself. Be kind with yourself. Understand where you are today, and know that you will not be where you are today in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. And then take a moment and pause and just go back 1 year and see where you were mentally, like where you were physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and then go back 2 years, compare it. Go back 3 years, compare it, and 4 years, can compare it. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. The further you get away from the narcissist, the further that storm keeps going out into the ocean and away from you and away from the land, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the smaller the narcissist gets. The smaller they get, the weaker they get. And then there comes a time when they don't mean anything at all. And that's when you've reached the mountaintop and the pinnacle of indifference. And my hope is that's where you are, and I know that's where you're headed. So remember, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself. I'm sending you a huge heart and a huge virtual hug from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. I love you all. God bless you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.